Moscow and Kyiv accuse each other of launching more attacks against the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant as the IAEA records powerful explosions.
Kurdish communities across Europe condemn Turkey's airstrikes in northern Iraq and Syria. At least 31 people were killed in northern Syria alone.
Memorial for victims outside a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs grows while the police decides whether it was a hate crime. COP27 comes to an end with a landmark deal on the loss and damage fund, but there was no progress on efforts to limit global emissions.
Moscow and Kyiv have accused each other of bombing the Russian-occupied Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in the south of Ukraine. First time that reported strikes have happened at or near the plant, which is Europe's largest. In a tweet, the International Atomic Energy Agency condemned the strikes, saying that the powerful explosions throughout the weekend are playing with fire. Russia has put the blame solely on Ukraine. Moscow's defense ministry spokesman said, Ukraine's armed forces launched 11 large-caliber shells at the nuclear plant on Saturday, with 2 more strikes launched on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian nuclear agency put out a statement on Telegram, calling once again for the demilitarization of the power plant and accusing Russia of continuing to disrupt its workers at the site.
The euphoria from the liberation of Kherson is slowly fading, as residents brace for a harsh winter in their empty city. Ukraine says it will start evacuating those who want to leave. Residents are freezing, they spend their days gathering wood, and now there are reports a Russian missile has struck an oil depot.
We are strong, we will live through this. We've lived through the occupation, so we will live through their missiles.
In Mykolaiv, life is slowly returning. But Russian forces mined residential buildings and infrastructure while retreating, so Ukrainians are now demining.
Basically, you can drive on the roads. However, you shouldn't deviate from the road. There might be something there. A car just drove into Pokrovsky, veered slightly off the road and flew into the air. Such things can happen. You can step on something in the grass.
Kurdish communities in several European countries have held protests against Turkey's airstrikes in the northern regions of Syria and Iraq. In the German city of Hamburg, several hundred stepped out and slammed Ankara for civilian deaths. Kurds living in Cyprus also held a demonstration in Limassol, demanding for an immediate halt to the airstrikes. While some held placards, others called for freedom in Kurdistan. Turkey has launched the deadly strikes in its claw sword operation, targeting the Kurdish PKK group, which Ankara holds responsible for last week's bomb attack in Istanbul. Its military says it struck 89 targets over the weekend, which included bunkers, ammunition depots and what it described as training camps belonging to terrorists. Kurdish-led forces in Syria have vowed to retaliate after claiming 2 densely populated villages were hit. On Sunday, a rocket fired from Syria reportedly injured 3 people on the border with Turkey. The blasts come a week after one of Istanbul's busiest streets was targeted. An attack which killed 6 people and injured more than 80. Turkish police have arrested dozens in connection with the strike, while 5 people have also been charged in Bulgaria.
A makeshift memorial of flowers, flags and candles is growing outside a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs. It's where a gunman opened fire on Saturday, killing 5 people and leaving 25 injured. The LGBT community has been deeply shocked by the attack. Survivors have been describing what happened.
I heard another round of shots, and then I saw the fire, the flash from the muzzle of the gun. And I ran to the dressing room. We locked the doors. We closed and locked the doors. We turned off all the lights and we got on the ground.
President Joe Biden has called again for tighter gun control and warned we cannot tolerate hate. The shooter has been identified as Anderson Lee Aldrich. He walked into the club and started firing and was overcome by 2 people. He's in custody and being treated for injuries. Police in the US are still determining a motive for the attack and considering whether it was a hate crime.
18 people were injured, 5 people.
Delegates attending the COP27 climate summit are heading home with mixed feelings about what was achieved in Egypt. A landmark deal was reached to set up a loss and damage fund, but there was no additional progress on efforts to limit global emissions. A weary COP president lauded the fund, bringing the summit, which overran by 2 days, to a close.
My friends, we heard the calls and we responded. Today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, we established the first ever dedicated fund for loss and damage, a fund that has been so long in the making.
Richer nations will pay those vulnerable to climatic disasters due to global warming for damage and economic losses. But there have been no new pledges reducing fossil fuels, and the inclusion of so-called low-emissions energy has raised fears that some fuels, such as natural gas, could be considered green.
But we also wanted to take definitive steps forward. We joined with many parties to propose a number of measures that would have contributed to this. Emissions peaking before 2025, as the science tells us, is necessary. Not in this text. Clear follow-through on the phase-down of coal. Not in this text. A clear commitment to phase out all fossil fuels. Not in this text. And the energy text weakened in the final minutes.
At the end of COP27, climate experts warn the world still stands on the brink of climate catastrophe, and cutting greenhouse gas emissions remains the only answer.
After a torturous 12-year build-up dogged by off-field controversies, the first World Cup in the Middle East finally began Sunday night with a flashy opening ceremony. Thousands of fans packed the Al Bayt Stadium in Al-Har. Ahead of the opening game, Euronews spoke to legends of the sport at the Globe Soccer Awards in Dubai, who had a clear message for the players.
Enjoy it. I think the World Cup, it's huge honour, whatever country you're representing, to play in the World Cup, and the important thing is you enjoy it. So to do that, I'm sure we're all in for a great spectacle.
Above all, they must enjoy it, and good luck to all the players taking part, because the World Cup is a unique event which only comes every 4 years.
With Qatar yet to face Africa Cup of Nations champions Senegal and 3-time finalists the Netherlands, fans had hoped for a better outcome. However, for fans of Ecuador, the result was an important one.
The atmosphere was absolutely electric here at the FIFA Fan Festival in the heart of Doha. If you're in Qatar without a ticket to one of the matches, this is billed as the next best place to be, where football, music, and culture collide. This is the central destination for fans from all over the globe to gather and show off their national pride. In fact, thousands of fans were turned away earlier today as the 40,000-person venue reached capacity several hours before kickoff. And if that's any indication of the type of football frenzy we're in for, well, Qatar 2022 is off to an exciting start.
In rebel-held northwestern Syria, more than 300 children have kicked off their own World Cup. They hope the homemade tournament will shine a light on communities battered by 11 years of war, with this stunning image.
In parallel with Qatar, here we have our own World Cup dedicated to children living in camps. They are divided into 32 teams from 25 camps and 7 industrial cities.
Most children are from camps for displaced people in Idlib. The region is home to about 3 million people. Around half of them are now homeless. This is Basil Shiko, and he comes from the city of Samin. This is Jihad. He comes from the camp of Deir Hassan, and he's representing England. Syria's war has killed around 500,000 people and displaced millions more since 2011. Despite the hardship, some friendly competition. The children say they have been training for months for their very own cup.
من عام 2022